this computer. So now we're like all official and everything. Perfect timing. Charles requested to share his screen. So Charles, for those that don't know, reached out to us. It's probably been what, 6 months ago or so with the initial contact and had some questions about who to talk to and the item that he's going to share with us today. And so it's been we've been kept in the loop as he's done some incredible research on this piece and some of the stuff that he's brought together. So he's been at this quite a while. We were discussing before we got on that he's interested in exhibiting it and actually taking it to the international level and the importance of this piece definitely needs to be shared at that international level as well. So we appreciate him sharing here today. And without any further ado, Charles, begin sharing your screen. And if all goes as planned, you're in charge. I'm going to mute myself and sit back and watch with everybody else. If you would, during the presentation, if you can, mute yourself so that just Charles is going so we don't get feedback or anything weird like that. That would be appreciated. And then when we're done, if we got questions, we can kind of unmute ourselves at that point. So, Charles, you want to go ahead and share your screen?
Yes.
Boom.
Wonderful.
And into the full,
Ready?
play full. Yep, all the way over.
Here we go.
Boom.
Good afternoon.
I'm going to mute myself and you are in charge.
Good afternoon. My name is Charles Fulforth, and I want to share with my colleagues here my discovery. I first sent this piece into the journal back in November, December 22, and published it calling for aid, help, assistance in recognizing what it was. It's part of the focus was on the HAVA correspondence. It all begins from the Metropolitan location in Paris and the printing of stamps for Napoleon, right? So here's the iconic 1 franc Ceres, right? Um, it, it's 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 a beautiful piece of work art, and it was used as the example when Napoleon um, proclaimed the Empire Franc in 1853. And from that, he developed his brand. Um, and the brand ran all the way from Metropolitan Paris to the frontier of Aleppo within the next 15 to 18 years. And along the way, we have designs, we have specimens, we have color essays, we have rarities like a tete bêche, we have the roots and markings, we have the Levant frontier, the HAVA correspondence with the Aleppo fragment as part of it. Um, Here is some vocabulary for the French and Levant, postal philately, right? The Pilor is ultra thin paper, transparency in a diagnostic cue. It's thinner than Saran wrap. What they used it for is the trial print and approval calibration, not valid for postage. We have one of from my collection, a tete bêche of the 80-cent Napoleon in perforate. We have the cancellations, we have paid, we have the halab, framed Arab strike associated with the Aleppo handling. It's one of a kind, it's unique, it stands alone. And then we have the blind embossing of the Ottoman Caliphate, type A. Here's how thin this onion skin is that they used for their experimentation. I have it on a 3 by 5 ruled card, index card, and you could see right through it in ambient light, right? Um, it's it's one of 10 to have survived in a block of four. It's rare. It's from the 1850s. I'm fortunate to have it in my collection. Here it is again under 365 UV. You see the high fluorescence of it, and we did this to authenticate it, right? There's no modern brighteners to this, which helps authenticate it. Combined visible light UV profiles um, aligns it with the Smithsonian and the Dreyfus archives. Um, this is the branding that Napoleon is putting forward, right? The printer, the process. I fall in love with this stuff. It's just magnificent what they did with a piece of onion skin paper. Um, they went from the onion skin paper, they developed the color ink um, essays. Here's the 1 cent specimen. Typography is letterpress, hardened steel, internal approval chain goes up the chain. Um, this is Empire of France in the Paris area, right, where it's being printed. This is the 1 cent denomination. Here's the 10 cent specimen. Again, the color, the relief, the branding of Napoleon. And this is without the laureate, right? This is the first. Here's the 20 cent specimen, same design, the 25 centimine, the 80 darker color, right? And we moved into, from my collection, I pulled out the different coloring of the 1 cent olive on a bluish paper and the olive on green. And these were used as wrappers until 1862. In 1862, the British government asked the French government for a set of all the stamps they had printed since 1849. The French government had none. So they had a recall and reprint starting in 1862 their stamps to afford the British government samples of everything that had been printed. Uh, Here's the 80 cent. Uh, as you saw before, it was dark chocolate brown. Here it's orange, right? And this is canceled in Paris on the Boulevard Saint Martin, December 6th. So we moved from that and we moved to another pair in my collection. It's the Tet Betch Rarity. And why it's rare, there's less than 10 known. But this particular one with this arc, the arc, is is a diagnostic. I used a diagnostic tool to compare the arc with what was known in the printing and the acceptance of the British administration from the French administration. And here they are side by side, right? And here's the routing logic for this as it trans um, as it crossed over the channel into London, right? And then here's a table that was created. I'm just trying to share that from 1852 to 1871, the colors, the design, usage, um, the catalog numbers, and some notes that's a little partially blocked out by the zoom. But this table is comprehensive and gives us an ideal situation when we come to going through our collections of who, when, where, and what. So I want to take us from metropolitan Paris to the frontier of Aleppo, HAVA correspondence. This is part one. It's part one because there's two other parts that at a later date I will present. So where the Tet Besh is revealed the Parisian perfection, this Aleppo fragment exposes the friction and fusion of two imperial systems, one built on bureaucratic order, the other on mercantile reach, right? It's where the French postal empire, regulation and stampcraft integrates into the Ottoman and Arabic empires of trade, caravan, consent. It's just fascinating to have discovered this and over the time to track it down. The art of discovery, Jewel the French Levant, right? Tying empires together on a rag front, right? It was posted in Aleppo, and it had to travel by camel caravan to Alexandria, where the port was, right? This this is what caught my eye when I was reviewing these collections. I saw this on the cover, and I've never seen it before. It's a hieroglyphic to me, and here's the second cover in the set. Again, here it is on cover. It's just so eye appealing that I had to have it, right? And here's the third in the set of the HAVA correspondence, right? And here they are side by side. This is on your left you have broad daylight, and on your right you have 250 nanoms of UV light, and you see in the middle that the fragment is a different color, a different shade on the right side. It's in the middle on the right side, a different shade, which led my curiosity. And the best is yet to come. So here's another table of the correspondence of the three uh, covers, right? Uh, Alexandria is the first, the Aleppo is the second, Messina is the third. Today we're going to look at the Aleppo cover, right? And here's the original request for help um, back in January 2023, right? There's on this cover, there's three empires, the Ottoman, the Arabic, and the French, all on one sheet of paper, which is very unique. Here are the call outs I requested help with over time. A lot of research went into this, step by step, by step, by step. And there's a lot of information out there, but it's not all in one place. Again, another table, the marking sequence and why the marking sequence is important, as we'll soon look at. From the initial posting with the clerk in Aleppo to the camel caravan to the port, and why it's unique. Um, we have the French Levant covers, right, of Alexandrietta. We have the Haleb 81 original marking. So A plus B plus C is the bilingual Arabic Latin addressing to Marcel, right? There's a few sporadic examples of that. We add to that column row D, right? Ottoman type A fiscal embossing, visible. So we have yet to look at that and see that. Um, the best is yet to come. Then we have the blue Ottoman fiscal arc fragment. That's one of the most important parts of the seven validations of this cover is that we have Ottoman fiscal paper being reused under authority in a postal system. Um, and we have the French stamping of that. So here are the three covers. Yeah, here's the cover in three different lights, right? We have daylight, we have the raw natural tone ambient light, and then we have the fluorescence of the UV, each giving a different perspective on this cover. So we have a postage sheet Ottoman fiscal rag that visually and politically binds the Ottoman, the Arabic, and the French postal authorities. This is the art of investigation. Again, this is the flip side of the cover under UV and under ambient light. Again, the covers line up again, daylight, raw, UV, mapping sequence. So here's our forensics on the cover itself, the paper. Here's our definitions of it, right? Now we're going to take a look at what can only be seen if you have the cover uh, in your hand and you're looking. I was looking down here at the hieroglyphic when I noticed this caliphate blind embossment on it. And here it is. This, what is that? It cuts into the paper and it's not tying anything. It's not on a stamp. It's not another hand stamp, right? So I did this in regular light and I took pictures of it. It's a blind embossment and it's just spectacular. This this is the stamp tax of 1845 in the Ottoman Empire, and it comes out of Constantinople. The the seal itself is a piece of steel that's kept under lock and key at the time, and it was only used for fiscal paper and documents. So if you wanted to transfer the title of your camel, you had to use fiscal paper, which means you had to pay a tax for the paper, and that was a revenue source for the Ottoman Empire and the tax collectors. It's a blind embossment. There's no ink to it. Um, Blind embossment started uh, private sellers. Yep. So here's the crest. It doesn't have the star above it, right? So it's the 1845 edition, 1845 to 1865. 1865, they put a star up above the crest. It's corresponds to every known research book I could find, every known picture, uh, every known detail. Uh, we go on to put it under UV light to see what differences. It has no fluorescent variants, which is good. There's no added pigment or repair. The depressions. Um, so we measured this, right? First, we measured it horizontally, then we measured it vertically uh, by millimeter. And we took scans of it from different viewpoints, enough so that we could form these beads in the lower right corner to match up with what the known official die was. And it matches precisely, which was phenomenal, phenomenal, right? So then we move from that particular artifact on this artifact, that piece of art on this artifact, right, to what I call the blue arc. This blue arc is key. And because there's so much going on, it took me time to even see that there's a blue arc there. And what does it mean? So I had to measure it in millimeters and then compare it to known the radius to known hand stamps that were used by the clerks in Aleppo under Ottoman authority for the reuse of fiscal paper. Well, the reuse of this fiscal paper is for postal use, which is unique in and of itself. So here we have the measurements in three different uh, forms. Again, we've taken a 1,000 power digital microscope with a LED with a display and taken pictures of it. And then we've put it under different lighting sources um, because it's just unbelievable. It's incredible. And I had to verify it 6 different ways, right? So we have these as references as to known other documents that aren't postally used, but are fiscal documents and have been researched by others, right? In the library in Constantinople, I believe. So here's a consolidated forensic and analytic data set, right? We have high UV, low UV, microscope, and LED lighting behind it. So we've very much beat this horse to death, so to speak. So then we drop down to the other exciting part of this that caught my eye that began this journey is Halib 81. It's standing alone. It's not tied to an adhesive stamp. It's not tied to an embossment. It's not tied by another hand stamp. It's unique. All references have this halib 81 or any other halibut in the Levant, in the outpost, tied to an adhesive, tied to a date stamp. This one sits alone, and if you notice, it sits right below the caliphate embossment, right? Um, that's a beautiful thing to me. And so here's some observations put in a table, right? It's seldom illustrated. Um it's tied with the blue arc that says, "Hey, there was a at the consult at the French Ottoman consult, this was all approved, right?" Um, and then we have the next steps which we've taken to prove this out. Um, Here it is in 4 different views, right? Low black light, high black light, under microscope, digital, and then on the reverse side of the document, right? It bleeds through the rag content of the paper. And now we have the hand stamp that ties together with this onboarding into Marseille, right? So we have the measurements, we have the location of it, and it sits the blue hand stamp, the black tombstone, and the red, right? And this is the sequence as explained to me by others that how all this inking sits. You can't see the full document, and I don't know how to pair it over. But it's very important that we we have authenticity by other experts, right? So paper is artifact and evidence. We have the French Postal Authority, the Caliphate embossing, the Arabic origin, the blue fiscal overprint, c- combining commercial, cultural authority, French, Arabic, Ottoman, very, very unique. We haven't been able to find another one like it. Again, here's a table of just the Aleppo cover, part one of this presentation. Then we come to where we began, right? How this was transmitted. Um, we have the 40 centimine paying the rate. We tie this together to the envelope again under high-powered microscope. Um, we tie it with ambient light. Then we have this part of it with again the consolidated forensic and analytic data set, tying this together, authenticating. And then we have the Turkish Arabic script on the piece that was presented um, in Aleppo before the camel caravan ride to Alexandria, right? And again, we have the table with the uses, reuses, what it means, the senses count. Uh, Again, we go rare, very rare, and unique, which is just phenomenal piece of art, meeting phonetic and postal uh, needs. So, are there any questions?
I do have one.
Yes,
I'll start off.
Charles, I have a question for you. If you could go back to the very early, fascinating piece that you have there and the detailed approach you've taken, but the one that has the list of all the different French stamps and the colors and their uses.
Okay, there
Um, oh, let's see.
you go.
That one.
That one?
Yeah. Um, Under 1862, the 10 cent was never issued in black.
Okay. Bear with me
It
here.
was only issued in Bister or Brown.
Okay.
So you might want to correct that. But
No,
go
no,
down
no.
1862.
1862, 10-cent black. Local
It,
inland
it was never
replaces
issued in black.
Bister. Okay.
And it did not replace, in fact, even in the laureated, it was still a uh, Bister or Bister Brown or greenish Bister, yellowish Bister. But black would have been a proof, I'm sure. But that stamp was throughout was always that the same, even going back to the 1852, the serious head. They kept that same all the way through after Napoleon III.
So they kept it into the Third Republic? Okay.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. But but anyway, I love the talk. A fascinating piece of postal history you have there.
Yes, it's just a piece of art that happens to be postal, right?
Yeah.
It really is a work of art.
The blue arc, that refresh me on that. That is, it was already a the embossment that we couldn't see, the embossed part of it made it a revenue piece. Then the arc
So,
released it from revenue duty.
um, yes. So, it started out as a fiscal paper in Constantinople, right? And it comes to Aleppo in the 1845 to 1865 era. And during that era, if you wanted to transfer title to property, you would use this fiscal paper and you would pay for that fiscal paper. So being most economical, they didn't throw things away. And they as a matter of fact, the cancellation on the stamp, the lozenge is out of date, right? It was preempted or years later, and they never upgraded. So this is the clerical seal that this the tax has been paid to use this paper for another venue. Does that answer your question? You're muted.
Yeah, that explain. I was just I couldn't figure out it like it. You made the sense. It released it for other use, and and who made that
Yes.
stamp?
Yes.
Who made that mark? The blue arc. Who makes that mark?
That that would be the Ottoman Arabic representative in the Ottoman French consul where this was being um, created.
Right.
Created. This cover was created, and it had to go through um, certain steps before it could be postally used. And this was the last step in the chain of events for it to be postally used, right? It had to have the Ottoman authority that this could be used in the French postal system.
Mm.
So this is a very authoritative document with all these embossments on it, all these hand stamps on it before the black tombstone is applied,
Right.
before the red, um, before acceptance into Marcel. So it's blue, black, red is the sequence. I think I have that. Sequence. I can't put my hands on it right away. Here we go. Sequence.
Mm.
It looks like it was applied over top the Alexandretta postmark.
Well, that's what we thought, right? How could it be underneath? But the analysis from the microscopic data shows that it came first.
But then the Alexandretta postmark should be over top of that if it came first.
The blue arc, we're saying, came first, right?
Yeah.
And then we're saying the Alexandria postmark came next.
Well, then you should see the dots, the circle and the dots of the Alexandretta postmark over top the blue circle.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
Let me see if I
If the blue came first, then the Alexandretta has to be over top of that.
let's see if I can bring it up.
If when the blue cancel was applied first, it slightly depresses the paper a little bit due to the strike. Maybe when you apply the Alexandrite one, that slight, drop
Absolutely.
makes you don't have the dots, showing there.
That's what
I don't know.
that's what the individuals who And you can see here's four of them, right? Like to your point, like it's depressed.
Hmm.
So you would have the black dots from the postmark underneath the blue. The black would be complete circle, and it's not. The black is not a complete circle because this is depressed.
Hmm. No, no.
I thought that one through myself. That's why we have to do this type of analysis.
What other is there another magnifier system or unit that would get that even larger or more clarified? Because can't you pull out like on a VCS unit? I think it's VCS unit. You can literally see which one of those is on top of each other.
Yes, there is. And we're in the process doing that.
Yeah, because that would
There's
answer
a
that super quick. Because right there they cross over, and if you can zoom in close enough to make that analysis, you'll know 100%.
well, there's an infrared document system that goes up to 850 um, and mine only went to 356. So it's an infrared document scanner for this type of analysis.
Yeah.
But I'm satisfied that um, it is what it is, and I will go to the next step um, and have it certified. But for this presentation, I can stand with this.
Oh yeah,
I've done it four different ways
that's neat.
because
Any other questions on different aspects?
So Charles, you didn't say anything about the red hand stamp on three line that we can see. All right, yeah.
yeah. Well, you can
Paquebot
help
de
me with this.
Méditerranée or something like that?
Pardon me, sir?
I'm not so sure what I read there, but it's
Paquebot de Marseille.
Paquebot de la Méditerranée yeah.
Paquebot of the Mediterranean.
Yeah, Paquebot
Yes,
de la Méditerranée. Yeah, okay.
yes.
In red. So it will be interesting to see, confirm that this is the right size and shape that was used at the time, in 1870.
Yes,
Since
this is part the other two envelopes as part of the HAVA correspondence. The one of them has the same exact thing in the same exact way with a richer, deeper imprint.
yeah,
Right? This is kind of faded.
yeah.
And I don't have the wherewithal to pull that up now. So that's why this is part one, right? Part one, this is a coming out party, so to speak, of art, of French art. Like this rocks.
Do you have any other examples or references of the blue arc of what a full imprint of that marking is?
The as of
It would
this
be helpful to see what the whole thing looks like.
right, as of this date, we cannot locate one. We can only locate references to it and the measurements of it. And that the measurement, I these measurements were analyzed as to the specific references of the blue arcs that were used at the time of hand stamps, the penetration of the pigment, the color of the pigment into the paper has been verified. The size of it has we have to get into the library at Constantinople and see if they have one. All that we have are references. All that we have is the pigment and dye used at the time. So we may have 4 out of the 5.
Okay.
And the fifth one would be, as you said, we want to see what it would look like.
Okay, so you have no reference or anything about what the entire mark would be,
Oh,
other than
yes.
written references, but no pictorial
Oh,
references.
these are what I do. Hold on. All right. These are here is the references. Right. Um, full cover. That's the Ted Bash. Bear with me here. Mm. So, Bassaran, Ottoman revenues and embossed papers. So this set of references we drilled down into to get measurements.
Okay, but they have no illustrations of what the entire mark.
Not yet. None have been and that is my call in the next uh journal article is a call as it was back in January of 23. Does anybody have information about each and every one of these?
Yeah. Okay.
And that's a fairly new reference. Did I see that was published in 87?
Uh,
Yes.
I think it was. So there may be some connection there. That's not that long ago. That author may still be active.
right.
That might be somebody to be able to reach out to.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hmm.
Any other questions?
Please keep asking. You're helping me.
I will say, I will tell you, Charles, the best part about doing any presentation is after I did mine, Loic helped. I think Steven's on here. I got some information that was just thank you, thank you, thank you, pictures, references, and I appreciated it so much because it was like, yes, keep sending it because that's what I need to learn.
Yeah,
And they are wonderful
exactly.
resources.
It's a team effort.
Amen. That's it exactly. So you will definitely get continued help and research along the way. That's for sure.
Well, please share my email address with everyone.
Yeah, we will definitely put that through on when we post this up as a thing. I'm actually going to stop the recording now. If nobody's got any other questions, I'll go ahead and
Are there
stop.
any other questions? Anyone, please. No? Okay.
All right. So I'll pause and stop.